Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Jules, here for WhatCulture.com, joined by my son, Ewan.
Bringing it in.
Today?
Doing good.
I'm glad. And today we're talking about the Batman and the Catwoman and the Batwoman. We're talking about Batman and Catwoman, but not in a sense that there's any breaking news as such, but just in the case that, well, the new Batman number 50 has come out, and it answered the question, will they, won't they finally get married? And the answer is, spoilers.
Go away now. Go on. The door it's there. Go on. Yep. You good?
No, they don't. After all that build-up, nothing happens.
Right. Okay, because I know how you feel about this. I'm disappointed as well. I'm a little bit annoyed that after all this build-up and all the hype and the way that this book in particular has been marketed, the wedding didn't happen. I think a lot of people got very excited, and I think it is slightly cheeky of DC that they have gone and done this. But for those of you who have not read it and are just here for the spoilers anyway, we'll basically go into them now. As you'll be aware that Batman and Catwoman have been hitched for a while now. They've been engaged since October last year. And it's been a long-running arc. Tom King has made an effort to basically make a Batman who is not cliched. He's divesting from all those old tropes that said the real mask is Bruce Wayne, Batman can't be happy if he's going to be Batman, blah, 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 blah. That is his main thing for now. So yeah, this issue is meant to be that wedding. And what happens at the end is after we get a long-running monologue from Selina Kyle, basically having the epiphany that if she marries Batman, he will be happy, and thus there'll be no Batman, and the world will go to shit.
Right.
Bane appears at the end of the issue. Holly Robinson is there as well. Turns out that Holly knew Bruce's identity all along, and then after that, it appears as though Bane has been behind everything. And everything since the start of Tom King's run on Batman.
And now that he has basically, in his own words, broken the bat, he's got basically a one-up on him because now he knows he's hurt, he knows that he's vulnerable, and he'll be likely to make mistakes. I can see the merit in setting up this arc. However, I, along with many, I'm quite annoyed about this. I don't like the bait and switch at the best of times, let alone one that's taken months to build up. And let's face it, this payoff could have been achieved without it needing to come to this. My argument is that Batman should have got married. I'm not saying that that's going to ruin the mythos of what Batman is. He could still be an ass-kicking crime fighter. He just would have a reason to fight that is actually more motivated beyond a sense of trying to better himself, rather than it being a case of, oh, my dad and mum, I've got daddy issues.
I totally agree with you. And if you've been reading Tom King's Run for a while now, you know that basically his main thing about this is that what other writers have done is a mistake constantly is they've treated Batman as the main character and Bruce Wayne as kind of the side dish. You know, Bruce Wayne is the real mask, Batman is who he is, as it's called. That's been a trope that's gotten very, very boring. But one thing that Tom King has really honed in on is the fact that Batman is a human. He is just a man, and he's made an effort of showing that he is a father, he is a boyfriend to Selina Kyle, he is a philanthropist as well. He has a responsibility, and that has been so refreshing. So when you have Selina Kyle going in a monologue, repeating these tropes that Tom King has been rallying against for most of this comic, it does feel annoying. However, I do kind of want to go into a point here.
Sure.
I think this doesn't contradict the ethos of the story. I think rather that it doubles down on the fact because Bane and the rest of these villains have alerted to the fact that a happy Batman is a better Batman, and they have conspired to stop that from happening. Now, the next 50, do I think they could have probably wrapped this up in the first? I do. I think the main worry for me at this point isn't that we'll never see it happen. I think we will, but just to kind of finish what I'm saying, I think that it's a case of he should have. I think they should have wrapped it up at issue 50. I think Batman should have married Selina Kyle in this issue. That is just me personally. I understand that we don't know what's meant to come after this. My main worry here now is if Tom King were to leave this series, and obviously he's promised us an 100-issue arc where he'll probably come good on his vision of what Batman stands for and who Batman is. If he leaves between now and then, there is a perfectly good window for a different creative team to come in and just go, didn't like that, and then go back to this old Batman that we'd gotten away from in DC Rebirth.
I feel like that's the problem with this, is that there seems to be a maintenance of status quo just so that they can have another writer come in and undo any sort of changes. That's what I worry about with this. Like, I was skeptical when they first said that Batman and Catwoman were going to start going out with each other, because I thought, okay, well, how is this going to affect the dynamic between him and the villains? How is this going to affect this? But what they seem to have missed is they could have easily had this wedding go ahead and then still had Bane just going, right, now Holly knows who Batman is, I know who Batman is, and you know what? He's probably going to be distracted by the fact that he's now married and the conflict is going to be internal. Like, he's been a character who's gone through grief. But the problem is, because he's never known what happiness is, then that, as a point, will make him more clumsy. He will make mistakes based on that.
Yeah, that's totally true.
If Holly and Bane now know that, like Catwoman and Bruce Wayne, obviously Batman and Catwoman sort of thing, so they will be able to exploit that more when they're together, or just as much. I just feel like it was a cheap rope pull, especially seeing as how many full-page idents they did from different artists.
It was wonderful.
And it looked beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, the lead-up to it is
incredible.
Really powerful. And I'm only this annoyed because of how well they'd crafted the spike on that. But the problem is that I just think, if they were going to pull the bullet on this, they should have gone the whole way.
Yes.
Like, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity, and one that they might regret further down the line. Because they can't do this again.
That's the really big worry for me, is that I have no doubt that Tom King is going to end his run with Batman being a happy man and kind of following through on everything that he's promised thus far. The only worry is, after all this build-up, after all the hype, after all the variant editions, after all the wedding albums, can DC really say it's the wedding again this time? It's real, and it's a shame because
that would have to be their tagline.
Exactly.
This time it's real, like, and that's so cheap when you do it like that.
I do kind of want to say that the issue itself, again, like we've already said, it's well written.
Yeah, and it's
beautiful.
Yeah, it's
There's
so
a really touching moment between Alfred and Bruce Wayne that will just completely floor you.
And again, that feels cheap now because of that. Like,
but one thing we probably could talk about is Joelle Jones's Catwoman #1.
Yes, because they've obviously launched a new series going alongside this to basically continue her story with all of the baggage she's now carrying, but moving her into her own thing.
And it's going to be interesting. The cynic in me wants to say that this twist has happened because potentially DC have spotted that the sales of the earlier graphic novels that King was writing could probably do with an uplift, and say, well, what this twist does is it makes us reappraise all those earlier issues, all the conspiracies, whatever. All of it has led to this one point, and the fact that there's going to be another 50 issues to come, well, Batman is one of the best-selling properties at DC. It's never not going to be successful, but with the amount of hype and momentum that King has managed to accumulate, I can totally see that from a cynical perspective. I can totally see why this sucks, but I want to be patient. I know that this is the man who has done Mr. Miracle. He's completely won me back round to liking Batman again. I do trust that in the end it will come good, but maybe there is a danger of overinflation and the fact that at issue 50 he could have had his legacy on this character intact. He could have been the man that married Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, and it hasn't come good. Even though we do have Porky Pig in the DC universe now, which is fantastic.
But the thing that I do have a little, well, more than a little sticking point is that I worry that issue 51 is going to come in, and what we're going to see is yet another dark, brooding Batman who maybe takes it too far because he's that angry, and we've seen it all before. Like, we've done year one, we've done all this anger, we've done all of this frustration. Like, come on, like, there's more to him than that.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's what you've done, is you've shown the world Bruce Wayne and said, okay, if you take off the cowl, there's an interesting character under here. And then what you've done is, the moment that people are going, oh, that's brilliant, you smash it with a hammer. And now it's like, well, no, but we're going to build him back up again. It's like, you didn't even need to do that. Stop breaking your toys like this. But the Catwoman standalone one, it's got an interesting premise there. To sort of paraphrase what happens, Catwoman finds herself having to deal with a lot of doppelgangers who are basically trying to emulate her style right down to her look, and she's getting blamed for it. Now, whether or not this is part of Bane's master plan as well, which I'm sure it will be further down the line, but to try and basically make Batman hate her maybe, or show that she could never change, I can't really say. And there were only a few emotional notes from the Batman story that I felt really carried weight. The package from Alfred saying, these are your things, I immediately thought, because of the fact we've just seen the doppelganger 2 pages before, I was like, that's not really from Alfred. That you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
It probably was, but I just didn't feel like that had the impact that I wanted it to. However, as it stands, Batman is in an interesting place. It's definitely going to have a lot of hype around it. People are going to be talking about it, which at the end of the day, no publicity is bad publicity, because they will be looking at issue 51 saying, where the hell do we go from here? It's one of those things where it's going to be up to the public to decide what they think of this. But as you can tell here, we've got mixed emotions on the entire thing. But let us know what you think about it down in the comments section below if you've picked this up, and if you're reading the Catwoman standalone one as well, what you think of that. As always, I've been Jules.
And I've been Ewan.
You've been awesome, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye!